Hotty toddy, Ole Miss fans, and welcome to the Brad and Chad Show, an Ole Miss Network production, brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans, made in the USA. This is the show by and for Ole Miss fans, where you'll get expert insight and analysis on Ole Miss athletics. And now, here are your hosts, former Rebels Chad Flowers and retired NFL star Bradley Sowell.
Podcast time.
Boom. Episode 2. How are you, sir?
What's up, man? Hey, I tell you what, I think I'm doing it. I told myself I wouldn't get to this point, but that game yesterday got me there a little bit, man. I'm a little bit bought in. We
got some of the things we needed to get, but we'll get to that here in just a second. First of all, I have some Visine for you. Tired eye. I hear you had a late night last night. Tell me about what. Tell me how did yesterday go,
dude. We played. Had a little softball tournament, and I think our last game. First pitch was 10 o'clock at night, and now mind you, we're in Oxford, Mississippi. I had to drive all the way back to Madison. So anytime you're playing softball or any kind of sport, and you're having to get home at 2 a.m, that means you're probably doing a little too much.
And they're 10 and 11, right?
9 and 10 years old. Dude, and lost a heartbreaker in the championship at that. Like if we're going to be there, let's win, right?
Right. If you have to stay up that late, might as well just try to go ahead and get a win.
Yeah, no question. Hey, speaking of being up late, how about the pig? Were you up late with your pig last night, or was that?
No, he goes to bed. He goes to bed between 5 and 7 once he gets fed. So he's kind of like an alarm clock. Once he's ready to eat, you can hear him throughout the neighborhood, and we feed him, and then he goes to sleep in his own little room, and we're good to go. But I actually had. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
He has his own room.
It's a guest bedroom.
Wait, a guest bedroom. How big is this pig? How big is it?
Well, so he's a mini pig. And so if you're not familiar with all of the weights and measures of a pig, under 400 pounds is considered mini. And so he's 120 pounds. We got him. He was probably 5 pounds. And now, he's 120. And he can jump on our couch. And he scuffs up our leather. It's great. Dude, it's great. It's probably the best animal you could have.
Well, that's unreal. That's a 120-pound pig running around the house.
Yeah. Okay, so let's transition just a little bit to what everybody is waiting for with us. Bradley, let's go ahead and get into it. What is your prediction for House of the Dragon tonight on HBO?
Oh, man, you know me. Hey, I have no clue, man. That's fairyland for me. I can tell you where I think the market's going this week, but not the House of Dragons.
What's Bradley Sowell watching on TV? I got to know that.
Come on, Shark Tank, dude. Shark Tank and real stuff that is real and kind of makes you makes you some money or something. I don't know. I cannot do the fairy comics.
I can't see you either. So okay. So sorry I asked. Okay, so let's talk Georgia Tech. All right. So we said going into our game today, or the game yesterday, that we really needed to see more of a complete performance to get at least somewhat comfortable with the way the season is heading. I would say that we got that.
Yeah, no question.
The offense, the first half, was a little. We ran the ball 33 times the entire game in the first half, and we only passed it 11 times. So it was more we were taking what Georgia Tech was giving us, and we dominated that first quarter. First 2 drives, go down, score. Thanks to a block punt, we had a short field. But they really just set the tone from the beginning, and that's what you want to see. I feel like with Lane, we put away the lesser opponents from the get-go. We don't let them hang around and breathe life into them.
Yeah, no question, man. I think that if you look at it yesterday, we just played our strength, right? Hey, we got it. We went to a game that we thought was much better than Troy. I don't know Troy the first 2 games. I'm not sure after seeing Georgia Tech. And we went there and said, hey, and this is kind of what I was hoping he would do. Don't put all the pressure in your quarterback's lap, not when you're breaking in new quarterbacks, right? Like, let's play to our strengths. And what did we do? Our O-line absolutely physically dominated that game.
Yes,
O-line and D-line in general. And we lined up and we used our best players to win. And we didn't have to the quarterback didn't have to make a ton of throws. I mean, we just played our strengths, and that's what I would do. I mean, if I was Lane, I said, hey, I'm putting the ball in my best player's hands, which kind of shows you, like, okay, what kind of coach is Lane Kiffin? Okay, last year we could throw the ball a little bit. We had a good quarterback. This year he don't care how he wins the games. He's going to line up and use his strength. That's what he did. He put the ball. I mean, we had 3 touchdowns. Oh, sorry, did we have 2? I guess we had every running back had at least a touchdown, maybe even 2.
2.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Bentley, Judkins. Yeah. It was really just a clinic on the ground game from the Rebels, which we knew we were a running team going into the game, and this really just kind of cemented that, as we don't have to rely on Jackson Dart to throw the ball 30 times to get a win in the W column. It's, our strength is going to be the stable of running backs that we have.
Yeah, no question. And I mean, if you look at that game, I mean, what was shocking about watching that game was, I mean, we executed, our O-line dominated. I mean, I watched every play. I just tried to go through every play, and we just physically dominated that bunch, and they didn't do anything to adjust, which was incredible. I mean, I don't know if that says a lot about us, or says, or if it says more about Georgia Tech and how poorly they were coached, but they didn't adjust one bit, and they just lined up like sitting ducks and let us just hammer them, and no adjustment in the run game. They ran a 6-man box all game. I mean, and they would bring down a safety every now and then, but it wasn't on the line or really mugged. And we ran, honestly, you watch that film, we ran one running play all game. Almost ran one running play, and it was unbelievable. I mean, and we just continuously pounded them with one play. I mean, there was maybe an outside zone in there, but we ran one running play all game.
And the holes were big enough that you and I could run through backwards if we wanted to.
No question. I mean, it was the O-line. They couldn't say enough about the way they played. They literally physically dominated, and it was just, I mean, honestly, all we ran all game. I mean, we just had like a little wing on the right, which we call it. It's usually like a right formation, but we had them winged off, and we tried an inside zone with the tight end, whacking back. And I mean, we just hit the combination on the front, 2 combinations on the back, and boom, we were out the gate all game, and they did not adjust one bit. I mean, it was a one running play, and with a little outside zone mixed in there, but we ran one play all game.
I hate to keep putting qualifiers on, man, we haven't really played good teams to this point. At some point, you have to just accept these are the teams on the schedule, and we are dominating them.
Yeah.
Right?
No question.
So yes, was Georgia Tech a very good team? Probably not. I don't think Jeff Collins survives maybe the first half of the season, let alone the entire season altogether. But they're still a Power 5 school. They still have Power 5 athletes, maybe not as many as some of the other teams we're about to play. But you did what you expect to do against a lesser opponent, and the Rebels suffocated them from the get-go. You start off with a 70-plus yard drive that results in a touchdown. Then you have Cedric Johnson really set the tone on special teams with that block punt, give us a short field, go down, score again. You can't ask for a better start to that game, because that just tells them we're in for a long day. And I feel like that's exactly what happened. I don't want to say they laid down, but like you said, they didn't adjust. It was not a good performance at all by Georgia Tech, but I'm also going to give our team credit because they came out and set that tone.
Yeah, no question. And you talk about not adjusting. It was a common theme when you watch that game. I think Georgia Tech may have had 2 punts blocked versus Clemson, or a punt block versus Clemson. How do you have that many punt blocks? I mean, you see one a season maybe. I would say I went years without seeing our punt gets blocked, but you had 3 on the season. That's just, I mean, that's unbelievable. And that's a huge play that made a difference in that game. I mean, we come down there, we put it down their throat, and then boom, we block a punt and get a short field. I mean, that's a game changer. And he went unblocked. I mean, he literally just went unblocked and what's crazy about that punt too is like sometimes the special teams are out there and you're in punt formation. We were in just a base defense. I mean, basically, we weren't even in like a punt block formation. He just rushed off the edge like he was on the D line and blocked a punt. That's just bad football. I mean, that's just really bad football by Georgia Tech, and it's good for us. The teams give you that kind of stuff. You take it, and and we did.
Yeah, I would say that's one of the key plays of the first half, just because of, I think, what it did to Georgia Tech. Obviously I can only speculate to what they were feeling on the sidelines, but that had to at least get, the Ole Miss fans in the crowd, keep them engaged and taking that, not a huge Yellow Jacket crowd, but, they kind of knew at that point, hopefully that, this is going to be a long afternoon.
Yeah.
A few other things that I saw in the first half. Unfortunately, Troy Brown ejected for targeting. Not a huge thing because it was in the first half, and we didn't really need him in the second half. So he'll be good to go against Tulsa next week. The only real play that I'd like to spend a little bit more time on is more on the negative side. So towards the end of the second quarter, I should say, we are driving. Jackson Dart scrambles, tries to do too much in my view. That's how I took it. Tried to do too much, tried to squeeze a ball in. Really poor interception when we could have ended the game right there, right then and there.
Yeah, no question. Well, that's one thing with him as his growth, as he gets a little bit older, a little more mature, and I'm glad he makes that throw in this game and not in a big SEC game or not versus Alabama. And those are things that he's got to get better at. And I know Lane is probably on him all the time about not forcing it, not making throws. But hey, I mean, he's got to cut those out. I mean, that's just not. I mean, you got to go ahead and just take the incompletion there, throw it out, throw it in the stands, and live to fight the next day. And that's hopefully where you see the growth. And that's going to be the difference in this team. Okay, right now we're facing teams that we're better than. And we're able to get some of these kinks out. The difference in this team being maybe getting to that 10, 11 wins is the growth at quarterback there and not making those throws, because at some point it's going to count. Right. You're going to be in a big game. It's going to be 21-21. And do you force that throw then and cost the game, or, do you get some leeway there because you're up 21-0, or 14-0, whatever it was at the time, and you make that throw and you go, oh, okay, I can learn from it now because we're up big. But I mean, you cannot make that throw in a big game. I think that's something that can be coached. That's right. But if you look at the actual arm talent throughout the day, he made some big explosive throws, which is something we haven't done all year. Mm-hmm. And we can coach, better decisions. Just being a smarter player is coachable. So it's nothing physical with him, and that's what's encouraging.
And that can kind of transition us now into the second half, because you saw Lane in his ear after he made that throw. And what was encouraging to me, I felt the third quarter of football was the best quarter of football we've played all season.
Yeah, would agree. I think we were aggressive. I mean, I think we stuck to game plan, and I think we, it's almost like it's easy to get in a game like that when you're up at halftime and say, 21-0, then let them score a touchdown or two, get back in it. And we didn't. We kept our foot on the gas, and third quarter football was awesome. I mean, honestly, man, we could have scored 60 that game. If we came out in the second half and probably played, that third quarter was probably our best ball of the year.
Easily. We had 3 drives over 60 yards. The defense only allowed 11 yards total in the entire third quarter. It was a dominating effort. One of the best throws that I saw, we'll talk about the back foot throw in just a second, but, third down, first drive of the second half, great throw into tight coverage to Malik Heath from Jackson Dart. He came out and he threw some of the best balls I've seen him throw all season in that third quarter alone.
Yeah, it's nice to see Jordan Watkins get in there too, and make some plays. I know he got him a catch. If you look at, Mingo had a nice catch. I mean, the receivers are starting to get their yards, and that's good. That's a positive thing. And I'm glad we got to get a little confidence this game. Now, I mean, this is one of those games that Georgia Tech sucked, call it what it was, but hey, we went out there and dominated, and we looked good doing it. So now you're starting to get that feeling. Okay, we beat a Power 5 school, whatever, and we beat them handily. Hey, we're pretty good. And we got some things to get better at, but this is the kind of confidence you want to see. Like now, it's about how you feel when you go in. It doesn't matter what the reality is; it's about what you feel when you go into a game, and confidence can carry you a long way. And building confidence like this is, it's just phenomenal for this team.
The back foot throw this was the drive that set up the Ulysses Bennett touchdown run. I think it happened right after this, but. The back foot throw, he's getting rushed. He just tosses it up right in the breadbasket of Malik Heath. I think for me, that is the type of play why I'm pushing for Jackson Dart to get all of the reps, because you see the talent that this guy has.
Yeah,
right?
That's what we've been saying all along. That's all along. The ceiling for him is phenomenally high. I mean, it is really, really high for him, and you see it with a lot of throws he makes. They're just really good throws, and I just think that if you talk Altmaier versus Dart, and it's just, man, I see a special talent in Dart. I don't think he's there as a quarterback yet, but man, when he does stuff like that, it's like, all right, now we haul this in. This is going to be special. This could be really, really special. And, people got to realize he's a freshman. He's a freshman. So
did you the play where he ran over the defender, he's always going to get the comparisons, especially this close to Matt Corral's tenure. I felt like that was his taking of the mantle from Matt Corral and kind of showing the team that, hey, I'm the guy for this team. I'm going to get my nose dirty. I am willing to run over whomever. Is that a kind of play from your experience that can really have the team rally around you?
No question. Earning your respect. And that's, plays like that are okay. Hey, what are you going to do to ignite the team? What are you going to do to let the guys know that, like, hey, I'm going to give the extra effort to help us win? And a play like that is, Matt Corral did it for a long time. He basically came in and, he was in the same situation. Think about where Matt Corral was when he first came in as a starting quarterback. We were talking about this same crap, literally. Yeah. Hey, can he not throw interceptions? Can he not make the crazy throw? Yep. Can he not go out there and get into fights? Whatever. But he started earning his respect by making big plays, big runs. And that's the type of play. Hey, you come in there, you lower the shoulder, you get the sideline lit up, and they're like, oh yeah, he's a baller. Let's go, Jackson. So that is, I agree, man. Those are the type of plays that can keep helping you earn respect. And then, hey, as you keep growing as a player and start making, big throws and big games, and then you become the guy. And you become a guy that everybody looks at in the huddle is like, all right, I feel good coming out of the tunnel with this guy. He's going to lead us down the field. So, really, all in all, man, that's I don't think it was a perfect game by him. I think you take off that one throw, he gave us exactly what we needed, but you're starting to see, okay, he's starting to get confident. He's starting to do some really neat things. He made some explosive throws. Heck, we were 20 yards per completion, or a little under 20 yards per completion yesterday. So he was efficient. That is an efficient, number. So, we're getting there with him, man.
Let's give your guys a little bit of love. Nick Broker. First of all, let alone his performance yesterday, we need to remind everyone he switched from tackle to guard this season.
Yeah.
How difficult is that?
That is extremely difficult for a guy who started left tackle for so long. But what he is doing is making himself some money. And it's a good example of what guys need to be doing nowadays. We got guys leaving early, going undrafted, whatever, just to get out. Whereas you got a guy like him that says, hey, I can come back for 6 months in college, play on a solid football team. And not only is he was on the brink of going potentially undrafted as a tackle last year. They don't see him as a tackle in the NFL. They see him as he can play tackle, but they see him as an athletic guard that can, finish guys. And hey, I decided to come back for my senior year instead of running off and leaving. And I just added a ton of value to myself. And he's a third rounder at minimum now. And he's playing great. So now he is a great example of 6 months of your life. You can, improve your stock by a ton. And yesterday he put on a clinic out there, man. He really, really did a good job. The whole line did in general, but he had some highlight type blocks. You look at that run to the left on that zone. He reached his guy. Not only did he reach him, he dumped him. He pancaked him at that. So, man, he played awesome yesterday. There was multiple touchdowns that came behind him. So he, that's what you call up in your stock and giving yourself a chance to make a lot more money than just going undrafted and taking a chance on yourself.
We've talked a lot about the offense, rightfully so. I mean, 42 points, nothing to sniff at. This defense is physical. I'm so impressed with not only how physical the guys in the secondary are, but how well they tackle. Right? Open field tackling, they're hitting, they're fast. This has shades of that Cody Pruitt defense a little bit, just in terms of how quick and how physical they are. Like I mentioned, Georgia Tech at 11 yards in the third quarter, 73 in the second half. That is domination from Chris Partridge's defense.
Yeah, no question, man. I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing about yesterday's game in general. If you just look at the whole scope of it, and this is D-line, O-line included, we absolutely physically dominated them on both lines. I mean, you watch that game, our D-line, I mean, we had a ton of guys had sacks. I don't know how many sacks we had, total 7 maybe, somewhere in there. But there were some physical ass beatings up front on both sides of the ball. And I don't know. I mean, I was looking at Georgia Tech's guys. They weren't like they were small, like D2 looking guys. These were like legit, decent looking guys, and they were just physically getting destroyed. I mean, and I don't know if they weren't trying or what, but man, they were taking some whoopings that are hard to fathom in a D1 game. And our D line was, they were all over them. And this defense in general is deep. You got a lot of effort up front, and it's well coached. They're sound. There's not wide open guys. They're in their spots. They may give up a play or two, but it's not. It is a very sound defense, and that's something that over the last 2 years. Last year it started to show up. And we're so used to, hey, the years before that, man, we just guys wide open, just very unsound. The sound defense, it's been awesome the last, I would say, I don't even know what, this year and that second half of last year. It's just been, we're in the right spot and we're flying around. I mean, it is fun to see a good defense. I would rather a great defense and a solid offense than I would, than I would the crap that Matt Corral had to go through his first year. I mean, he had to score 50 to just win by 6. I like the way we're playing ball on defense.
You want to talk about a transition from previous defensive tenure to, Durkin, and now 8 straight games the Rebels have not allowed 21 points or more.
That's wild.
That's the first shutout.
Yeah.
That's the first shutout of a Power 5 opponent since the 08 Egg Bowl.
Hey, I was also doing crazy numbers last night as well. You got your crazy number. Ole Miss is in the last 21 games, we're 17-4. That's incredible. I had time. I'm probably should have been on my phone, but riding home from Oxford, I'm looking through. I'm like, damn, Ole Miss has won a lot of games. Like, let me look this up. And I started going back. I'm like, we're 17 in the last 21 games. We're 17-4. That's incredible to think Ole Miss. We've only. I mean, that's probably one of the better stretches in Ole Miss history if you think about it. I mean, that is
absolutely
really cool. Yeah, there should be no complaining with Ole Miss, because I remember the days where it was a family vacation to go down to the Independence Bowl.
Absolutely. Shreveport is wonderful.
We were tailgating, bologna sandwiches in the truck. I mean, we were good to go. We were excited to go down there and play. So it's a different standard. The standard at Ole Miss is on the up and up, and it's been awesome.
Yeah. So welcome back once again. Just to talk to the audience here, Brad and Chad show, second episode. Talking about the Georgia Tech game. I want to thank Blue Delta Jeans, Nest and Wild Mattresses for sponsoring us. I wanted to kind of put a pin on the Georgia Tech game. Bradley, if you were to give someone kind of the MVP of this game for you, who would you say?
I'm gonna say the O-line. I mean, you have to. When you run for 300 yards on an opponent, and you know what's crazy? I had a text in, talk to Broker earlier, and he was like, "Man, we're disappointed that we didn't get 400 yards." So apparently, when you start running the ball like that in a game on the sideline, what comes into play is like you start showing a little pride. You want to accomplish something that's a rare feat, and I could see it now. They run the ball well. They're probably, hey, keep running. I want 400 yards. And it gets to be fun for an O-line. O-linemen don't get to have a ton of games like that, especially in the SEC. I mean, to say you're going to line up and run, 300 or 400 yards a week is tough. But you get in those games, you get a lot of on the sideline. I just know being in his shoes. Hey, they wanted 400 yards according to the line. They're like, hey, we're disappointed we didn't get 400. That's a great mindset to have. You just freaking ran for 3 whatever, and they wanted 400 yards according to Broker. So I'm giving it to the O line. That's they just lined up and just pounded them, man. I mean, that film is nasty. If you're watching that film, you're questioning. Is a Ole Miss O-line, or are these guys that good, or does Georgia Tech's D-line, do they even want to be out there? Because they were getting pummeled. I mean, some of those holes were crazy. I mean, the combinations, all they ran all game was an inside zone. I mean, it was unbelievable. You go watch this game. You want simple football. The right tackle blocks out. You got a combination between the guard and center that are working up to the front side backer. Backside, left guard, left tackle, they're running used to call like a B block to that backside backer. You got the tight end coming across to whack the DN. That's all they did. I mean, it was simple versus six-man box. The fact that they sat there like ducks means we call it sitting ducks. There's no slanting, there's no anything. They're just letting you tee off on the combinations. It's incredible that those kids were put in that situation yesterday by Georgia Tech. There was no adjusting. I mean, it's the simplest play ever. It's usually it's a 4-yard play. I mean, and Ole Miss just continuously pounded it, and there was holes there like you would never imagine. And you watch it; they did that run play all game. I mean, literally just back block the tight end, front side combination, backside combination. They just nailed it, and then the holes were there. And there was no insert safety. There was nothing by Georgia Tech. And you go look at Evans' touchdown. That first one, I mean, he ran out the front side on his own play. That's almost impossible.
If you want to know how confident the Rebels were in their run game, go back and look at the number of 3rd and longs where, over 5 yards, where the Rebels just said, we're going to run it again.
Yeah.
They had several times where it's like 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, we're going to run it. You can't stop it.
They sat in a 6-man box all game. The 6-man boxes are things you dream of. Like when you're out there in pre-practice, you line up in a 6-man box, you're running your combinations. It's like, oh man, this would be great if they would actually do this in a game. Georgia Tech actually did that in a game and didn't adjust. I mean, it's unbelievable. Who you got? What's your MVPs of the game? Who you giving it to? Who you thinking?
For me, you're going to look at the box score and you're not going to see a lot of numbers next to this guy. But for me, it's Cedric Johnson, because I felt that punt block did so much to just completely just close the door. Hey, it ain't going to be today. You're not going to get anything today for us. Just go on home. It's over. Yeah. He had a sack as well. Had a handful of tackles too. But that punt block, I felt, it was only the first quarter, but it was a turning point of the game to let them know. Because especially you're able to capitalize with the touchdown after. It wouldn't have been as impactful if we didn't score right after that. But touchdown right after that, 14-0, first quarter, it's over. Just close the door.
That's the tone. When you go into a road game, I don't care who you're playing. A road game, you're not. I mean, it's a new environment. A lot of those kids have never stepped in that stadium before. But hey, that's a big play. You're looking when you're on the road, you're thinking, hey, I need to get some turnovers to win in a legit game. In a legit game, you're thinking, hey, I need to win the turnover battle to win a game like that. And boom, you come in there, get a block punt, you go down, you demoralize them in the run game, you get your first score, and boom, let's block a punt and punch it in again. Now we got them on the ropes 14-0, and you're right. I mean, I could definitely agree there. That's a tone setter. Hey, I want to get a touch. I want to steal a touchdown or two on the road.
Yes,
by making a play like that. And you're right. That let them know, hey, it's going to be a long day. So that's Cedric Johnson's been been a great player for us this year.
Okay, so Georgia Tech's in the rearview mirror now. The Rebels have Tulsa next week. So take me inside the practice facility right now. What's going on right now from the coaches and the players as we now shift from one game to the next?
Well, I hope you're feeling a sense of urgency. I hope yesterday kind of told you. I hope the confidence is high this morning. So it can go one or two ways, okay? The confidence is high and you grow hungrier, or you start getting complacent and thinking, oh, we're pretty good. And I think with this team, I think we needed that game yesterday to kind of get the confidence building. And what I'm hoping is they're hungry. They're like, hey, I can't wait to go out to Tulsa and do and perform well again and oil this machine, because we know what's coming on October 1st. Let's be real here. And you don't want it. What you don't want is them to get comfortable this week, have a close battle, or let Tulsa even have any hope, and make it a tough game. I think we go in there. Hey, we got one more week to really hone in everything we need to get right, because we know the big game's coming, and that's going to be Kentucky. And we're not going to overlook them. We're not going to overlook Tulsa at all. but we need to keep building. We're looking at building blocks right now. We were very fortunate to have a schedule we had. We essentially have 4 scrimmages before we start a legit schedule. And what's crazy is we've used them great. We've gotten better in each game.
Yes.
And yesterday was kind of like that. Okay, this is what our team's going to be. Jackson Dart, listen, people don't realize like you don't need a Matt Corral type quarterback to win. Mm-hmm. You really don't. It's nice. It's nice to have a guy.
Who wouldn't take
you have a running game like we have. It is fun to play great defense and run the ball. That's all Alabama's ever done. Yeah. I mean, that's all Georgia really does. It's okay to be a running football team. You know, we didn't throw for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns, but guess what? We ran for 300 something yards and had 6 rushing touchdowns or something crazy. So, I mean, that's just what we are. We're a running team. And as the quarterback gets better, I mean, it could be a special group. And I think he's getting better. I mean, he had some explosive plays yesterday, and you leave him in there. We come out in Tulsa, have a complete game, and let's go. We know, hey, we're a top 10 battle, the next week. So, I'm hoping this team is growing hungrier, and they're seeing where they're going.
Just looking a little bit at Tulsa's schedule, they lose first game at Wyoming, double overtime. Wyoming got hit hard by the transfer portal, so that's a little alarming in terms of how quality this opponent's going to be. They beat Northern Illinois, and yesterday they beat Jacksonville State. I mean, Jacksonville State's a good FCS program traditionally. They beat them pretty well. So we'll see how preparation is going to go. You would imagine that the offensive staff is probably going to keep it relatively basic, not going to show too much, I would imagine, with Kentucky right around the corner. Did preparation change at all when you were playing with that first SEC game right around the corner? Did preparation change at all in terms of we're going to focus on just a certain amount of things so we don't unveil anything special before the conference opener or before a big conference game comes up?
Yeah, I mean, the only so whenever you're playing the Tulsas, the UCAs, the teams like that, maybe Georgia Tech a little bit, you just want to get good at the basics. Okay, hey, these are the things. These are the foundation of my offense. Hey, we like to run inside zone. We have a certain pass plays we like to do. And then when you play an SEC opponent, you really hone in on what you think their weaknesses are, and you add some packages that are, hey, these plays I think will work versus these teams, and you haven't shown it, and you kind of adjust as you go. But these games like this are all fundamentals and basics. Hey, how can I make my foundation better? If I'm an inside zone team, let's go out there and be a great inside zone team. If I like to run certain pass routes, let's be good at the ones that we like to run. And let's add a base. You're trying to make the foundation as strong as possible. Then you add the wrinkles as you play the good teams, and you add more of them. I'm going to be willing to bet we're not going to be able to line up and run one running play versus Kentucky and continuously do that all game. You're going to have more. But what are we? We like to run the inside zone. We added a little outside zone in there yesterday and hit it down the sideline with Evans. But hey, we like to run the inside zone in a bunch of different formations, and that's we're literally running the same play at the formation. But that's our bread and butter, and we have to get good at it. And how do you get good at it? You line up in these games where you're a little bit better, and you just keep pounding it. You keep doing it and doing it and doing it until you became, hey, I know what I need 4 yards. I'm going to my inside zone, or I'm going to my bread and butter plays, and that's where you build these in games like this. Play the other big games. Hey, I have all my wrinkles, my packages. I add more, different looks, different formations, but versus these games, let's line up and let's just physically beat you and, run our bread and butter.
So we'll have more on Tulsa midweek, with episode 3 of the Brad and Chad Show, brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans and Nest Mile Mattresses. But I have a few other things I wanted to at least highlight.
As far as the mattresses, that we got to give out a code, right? Like, we got a discount code for BDJ?
I believe we do. I'll get those and I'll put those in the comments in the description of our YouTube video, in our podcast description. So remember, you can always like and subscribe on YouTube, the podcast apps where you get your podcast, to give us some love. Make sure that we are, give us our comments, tell us how we're doing, ask questions. We're going to start trying to incorporate some of your questions in our midweek and, the after game shows, so we can make sure to listen to you, to know exactly what you're wanting to know, to try to give you some content. And another thing that I wanted to do is I want to at least try to highlight some of the other Rebel teams that are playing right now. So yes, football is a huge focus because of the amount of eyes that it gets, as well as the amount of money it brings in. But they're not the only Rebel teams that are playing right now. I mentioned last week in our first show that the soccer team, they are undefeated. They are 7-0-2. They actually opened up conference play themselves this past Friday night against Kentucky, very similar to what the football team is going to do. And they pulled it out 2-1. They beat Kentucky. Goals from Ashley Arcus, Kayla Chapman-Haggerty. So they are now, they're ranked 15. I think they dropped back in the rankings just a little bit because they tied Southern Miss last week. But that season continues for Coach Mott, where they are reaching a level that has not been seen in the Ole Miss soccer program. So congratulations to them. They open up their home conference slate against Florida Thursday in Oxford at 6:00. So if you have the chance, go out and support the Rebels. So huge there. Volleyball team went 2-1 this past weekend. They open up conference play Wednesday against Texas A&M at the Gillum Center here in Oxford as well. And then a really cool thing that I wasn't aware of. So the cross-country teams, both nationally ranked. If you didn't know, both men's and women's cross-country teams are nationally ranked. And we had our first home match that they actually run out at the golf course over at the Ole Miss golf course. That's where the course is. They had their first home match in 5 years. It was called the Preview. They played Florida. Both the men and women defeated Florida. And the program is going to host the SEC championships in October at the Ole Miss golf course. So that'd be pretty cool to have all the conference teams there. Ole Miss is going to be hosting that, so that will be really interesting on October 28th.
You think I can run some cross country, Chad, or no? You think
again?
You think I can run some cross country or no?
I'm more of a sprinter. I can go for very short distances. Yes. I had a joke there, but I'm not going to make it to keep this family friendly and keep my wife very happy with me. So we will move on to let's talk about what else happened in the SEC. Okay.
Sure.
So I don't know how much you got to watch yesterday because you were softballing it up, but some really interesting results in the conference. In-state rival Mississippi State went down to Baton Rouge. I felt they gave the game away. They did not play very well. They got up early, and they could not. The Mike Leach offense could not get out of the way of themselves in that second half.
My opinion just changed them a little bit. I mean, I'm one of those guys who shouldn't do this, but I'm a score looker, so I look around like I try to compare who beat who, which it does not matter at all. But if you look at Florida State beats LSU, right?
Mm-hmm.
They play a close game at Louisville, a team. I mean, you start tracking back scores and you go, man, LSU really isn't all that great. They beat State and beat them handily down there. I don't know, man. I don't know what I think about the SEC West this year. I mean, then I look up at, I got to watch yesterday. I mean, you got an hour and a half between each game, so I get to watch quite a few games on my ESPN app. And you see Arkansas down, Texas A&M is a shit show. Like, I don't know. I mean, the West is odd right now. There's a lot that needs to be played out in the West. I just don't. Man, that was Mississippi State, and Mississippi State thought they were going to win that game.
I thought they were going to win the game. I had money on them.
I love it.
Money on them.
I love it, dude.
Yeah, they couldn't cover a 2-point spread.
Hey, this week we start our contest, right? Like we're picking. Okay, SEC spreads. We'll have that next show, and we're going to start our record. What we Let's see here. I'm excited about that.
For the record, you and I both, we didn't get the score correct for Ole Miss, but we both predicted that Ole Miss would cover against Georgia Tech. So that little preseason match for ourselves in our little contest, we both succeeded in. We predicted those correct. Ole Miss did cover, so that was good. They were 17, I believe, was the number that it ended.
It's crazy for a road game versus a Power 5 school, and it looked, the line was probably enticing to a lot of people that didn't know SEC and didn't know college football that well. You're like, man, a Georgia Tech that's at home getting 17 points. I'll take my chances there, and it wasn't even close.
Well, a lot of people watch them play Clemson, right? And they think, okay, they kept Clemson pretty close, and Clemson surely not Clemson is a lot better than Ole Miss because they in the past, they've played for national titles and things like that. So maybe that came into the line of thinking. I don't know, but that spread could not have been.
We would be Clemson by 21.
We would play pretty well against them. I agree with you there. A few of the things in the SEC West that I found interesting. I don't know. We talked about Jeff Collins maybe not make it through the season. I don't know if Brian Harsin will make it through the season. They got boat raced by Penn State. Penn State's a good team. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I know we like to mock the Big Ten a lot in terms of how good some of the teams are. Penn State's got talent, right? They went into they went into Auburn and they beat the brakes off of Brian Harsin and crew. They've got a real problem on offense.
Yeah, man, that's crazy to see. That's when Auburn's in the dumps. Typically those games, man, are you go into the SEC school like an Auburn. Those guys expect to beat. They expect to beat the Big Ten when they come in, and to get your ass like that. I mean. Good luck. Good luck being Auburn's coach getting that done to you at home. It's not going to be long.
No.
So and I'm sure it's going to come. All the lane rumors. That's going to be a fun conversation, a fun topic to have to go through. But man, dude, it's amazing. That's like Tennessee all those years couldn't nail their head coach. Like a school with those kind of resources cannot pin down a head coach. Like, come on, man. Like it's Auburn, it's Tennessee. Let's go.
It doesn't help when your two biggest rivals, Alabama and Georgia, and if we're being honest, I think you said this, Georgia may be the new Alabama. I mean, it may be Alabama A and B between those two schools because Georgia absolutely dismantled South Carolina yesterday. I don't think South Carolina's that great.
Yeah.
But still, they beat them real bad.
Georgia will not play a close game all year.
No,
they won't play a close game all year, and I'm a venture to say they won't be close. And if they play Alabama in the championship, or us, or anybody.
So last few thoughts. Yeah, last few thoughts on the SEC. A&M, they pulled it out against Miami, which somewhat surprising, but they switched their quarterback, which I think helped them. Arkansas, you mentioned, they struggled against Missouri State. I wonder if they were looking ahead. They have A&M next week, and then they have Alabama. So that could have been a look-ahead spot. That would be interesting to see how they play against, A&M in Jerry World next week. But yeah, a lot of good storylines coming up. And, you and I are going to be there every step of the way. So yeah, show 2 in the books, Bradley. It's going pretty well. I'm enjoying this, my man.
Yeah, no question, dude. We got to keep it going. Get those codes over to what was I think.
So the Nest and Wild code. So yeah, so Wild 15, and then for Blue Delta, $100 off a pair of jeans from Blue Delta if you've never had them. Some of the most comfortable jeans you'll ever wear. It is they measure you. It is complete custom fit. Own 100. So OWN 100, and you'll get $100 off of those jeans. And so your Nest and Wild code Wild 15 if you're interested in a Nest and Wild mattress. So we want to thank Blue Delta and Nest and Wild for sponsoring the Brad and Chad Show. And we look forward to continue providing this content for you as the season continues and on into the off season to cover Ole Miss athletics.
Yep, no question, man. Awesome game, awesome start to the year, man. 3-0. You can't ask for anything better. We know we got Tulsa coming up, should be another win, and that game versus Kentucky's looming, man. They're setting it up to be I'm sure we'll move up a little bit this week after being so dominant. And Kentucky, I think Kentucky plays somebody pretty bad. I think they may play. I don't know. They play somebody pretty bad this week as well. So we're both gonna be 4-0, and they'll move us up in the rankings, and that'll be if I had to guess, we're probably gonna be somewhere in that 15 to maybe a little bit lower, and they'll be handily in the top 10. So that's setting up to be an awesome game in Oxford. It's gonna be beautiful weather, I'm sure. Nice fallish feeling weather, and man, it's gonna be awesome. So it's exciting. We got a lot to look forward to, and we're off to a good start, man. It's a good looking team so far.
Absolutely, it is. And we want to thank all of you for listening to us. Please like and subscribe our YouTube channel. You can search for the Ole Miss Network. You can search for Brad and Chad. You should be able to find us there. Please like and subscribe. Help us by doing that. Our podcast you can find on Apple Podcasts, Google, Amazon, if you listen there, wherever you listen to your podcast, Spotify. Please subscribe, like, provide your comments, your ratings, hopefully all 5 stars. I know some of you may have problems with Bradley in the past in his playing days, but now's not the time to air those grievances. Please, 5-star reviews would really, really help us as we continue to try to build this program to something that you could all enjoy. So once again, Bradley, my man, I look forward to talking to you midweek to talk about the Tulsa game. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you down the road.
Yep. See you, Che. Hey, do your homework. It's on starting Wednesday.
Let's do it. Hotty toddy.
See you, man. Hotty toddy.
Thanks for listening to the Brad and Chad Show. Follow the boys on social media for more content. And don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. This has been an Ole Miss Network production brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans, made in the USA.